Well, good afternoon, everyone. Today, we will be discussing how the ExpandIT solution works for service organizations, and more specifically, we'll look at the messaging capabilities in the ExpandIT software. I believe most of you are familiar with ExpandIT, but for those who don't know, ExpandIT is a Microsoft Dynamics independent software vendor, and we specialize in service management. And if I haven't met you already, my name is Julissa Gonzalez. I work on the marketing and business development side here at ExpandIT. And I also have Taylor Rogie, who is a field service product expert and business analyst, who will be speaking in just a few minutes. So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. We are recording today's session. Everyone who registered will get an email with a link to the on-demand version within the next few days. This session will run for approximately 30 minutes, which does include time for Q&A. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to submit them through the Q&A panel on your RingCentral console so we can address them towards the end. And if for some reason we don't have enough time to address all of your questions in today's live event, please be assured that we will follow up with you directly following the webinar. So the agenda is as follows. We'll look at the objectives for this webinar. Next, I'll discuss key takeaways. Taylor will then get into the demo. As mentioned before, we did allocate some time for Q&A at the end, and we'll finish off with next steps and additional resources you may use. So what is the main objective? The main objective of today's webinar is to provide an educational overview of how the ExpandIT messaging capabilities work in the ExpandIT Field Service software. But so why is messaging important? So for many reasons, but one of the pain points that I'd like to point out that we see service companies face is customer dissatisfaction. For example, when a service technician shows up unannounced to a job site, customers tend to get frustrated or upset since they're not expecting anyone at that given time. And so messaging is crucial for service companies to ensure all parties are updated at all given times and improve customer satisfaction, communication, and compliance. And so during the webinar, Taylor will give an overview on messaging capabilities, how to send out messages to a team or group, sending individual messages to technicians for a specific job or service order, and also broadcast messaging. And now I'll hand it over to Taylor to get started with the demo.
Hi everyone. So today I'm going to show you our different ways of sending messages to either your internal mobile resources or an email address that maybe is your customer or somebody that you're in communication with about the visit that's coming up, or even sending it to a text message. So we do have multiple ways of being able to send a message. The first one we have is up here. In our toolbar, we have a message. So by clicking message, it will pull up a completely blank message. It's saying who it's coming from. That's the email address that's set up through the administrator login. Here we can go ahead and type any emails in, any text message or phone numbers, and then we have the select button. Select is going and looking at all of the resources that are available to send in an internal message, which goes to the mobile device application. So if we wanted to send it to an email address and a phone number, if you're sending it to a phone number, you do need to put a +1 in the very front so that it does go through. And we can always come here and type in somebody's select their name as well. So you can send it to multiple people, multiple devices, all by using a semicolon. The next one would be to put in a subject. You can, it will remember your past subjects that you have used. You can always type in a new one as well. This active from and to. So this is for your internal messages. It will show the message on the mobile device from your dates that you have selected. So if I put in from today until tomorrow, because we don't want them to come in on, let's say Saturday, the 17th, we can always leave those dates in there. If you do leave your active to date blank, we do have some configuration settings of how long you want the message to be available on the mobile device, which will help you limit how many messages stay there forever. Message, here's your body of your message. If you are sending a text message, it needs to be shorter than 140 characters. So we do show you how many characters you are typing in. So you sending that text message, you do not exceed the 140. So we can type in our message and then we can go ahead and click send. On here, it will tell you if it's been sent and when it's been sent to the gateway, which is sending it off to the device, the provider to send to the device. So that's our one way of sending a message. We do also have the ability to send a message to an appointment or a visit. So if you go to the visit on your planning board, you can right-click on your visit, select message, and it will pre-populate some information here. So it will pre-populate who the resource is, so who it was assigned to. You can always delete that if you don't want it to go to that person, and you can always enter in the person's email address if you would like. So if I wanted to add in another one, I can do another email address, and now we have two emails, a cell phone, and an internal message, or I could delete this internal message by clicking the X. We have in our configuration the ability to pre-populate your subject and your message. So we pre-populated the next planned visit with reference ExpandIT number EXP954. We have that pre-populated. So every time you go to a new planned visit, you will see that your subject changes. Again, we have the active from and to, which only applies to the internal messages. And we have pre-populated our actual message itself. So we have it in two different languages. But as you can see, we are trying to send this to a text message. So we have exceeded our 140 characters by almost over 200. So we would need to either shorten our message here, or it's not going to go through as we expect. So we shortened that message. Now we're down to that 127 characters, which will go through. Here we have a calendar. Clicking add visit to calendar. If you're sending this to an outside email address that is connected to Outlook or some other form of email calendar system, it will add it to the calendar as an appointment so that they see it. The only thing is that it will not follow along if you make changes on the ExpandIT side. If you move this planned visit to, let's say, Monday, the 19th, it's not going to move that visit on their calendar. We are not taking over their calendar settings and moving visits around. So our suggestion is if you are going to send add visit to calendar, it's when your appointment has been finalized and you know you're going out on that day. So if we do go ahead and send this, we can click send. And again, it's going to pull up our status and telling us when it's been sent and that it's been sent to our gateway, which is the provider again. And I will show you an example of how the message looks here shortly. So another way that we have, or another way we can actually see a message or send a message is to the actual person, so to this resource. So you can go over to your resource and click the message button, and now I'm sending a message to this internal user. So I can go ahead and send in a subject for the COVID protocol, which has been very helpful to a lot of our customers, especially through the last year and a half. So we can enter our subject and put in our message, and I'm only going to allow it to be active for 3 days. So again, I'm sending it internally to this resource. So I can go ahead again and click send, and I will show you that it has been sent, and it will actually go over. If we move over to our mobile, we will come up here, and if I refresh my screen, see this message button up here in the corner, it's telling me that I've unread messages, and it will stay here until I've read my messages. If I click in that message, here's all of our messages that we have been sending out to my user. So we can actually see, if I click on any of these messages, it will show all of our messaging. So I did a test earlier. We have our COVID protocol. And now see that I've read all of my messages. It is now no longer showing a little message symbol. One right here is the registration for a sales order. I actually modified the quantity of a timeline. So if you're utilizing our time capturing functionality and approvals, if you make any of those adjustments to the lines, it asks for a justification. And I wrote my justification was missed a clock out. It will actually send the message over to that particular user that you updated. So that's really helpful so that they know what's going on, and it keeps all of their messages in one area. You can always get to any of your messages here by clicking into that message module of our hamburger menu, and any of my messages that will remain here because I put dates in to keep them here will stay on this screen. So they could, if they had multiple of them, they could scroll up and down to see them. That is why if we do come back over here to our messages, it is important that everyone understands the active to. So if I erased my active from and to, it will just show up the one time over in our mobile device. So see here, now I can read my message, I have everything there, and it will eventually, after today, it will be removed from this screen. So it is gives you that capability of not having to see a bunch of messages all at once. So we do also have that text message that I had sent out. This is just a picture of a screenshot of my cell phone. I had sent a test one earlier. It will show that there is a test text message, which comes over from your from the mobile number that we have programmed. Also, for sending out that message to our email address, here's also what it looks like. It comes from ExpandIT Essentials as the email address, and we can always change that out to a particular email address for that you as a customer, and it would send it out to whoever needs to be notified. So I actually have one over here too, where we had our scheduled visit, so it will actually show you the same text that we have already sent from the planning board. So one other way we do have the ability of sending messages is to an entire pool of users. So again, during COVID, this was a huge capability that a lot of people were using, is they wanted to get a single message out to all 10 of these people. So they were actually coming in here, clicking the message button at the pool level, and it would send it to everyone in North America department pool. And this is going to internal messages. So that was going into their mobile application. So they can always put in the subject, put their active from and to, and put their message here. And it would go ahead, if I click send, it is now going to send out to Emma through Taylor. So it will send it there, and now again, they would have it on their mobile device right here to see what's going on. So that is all of the different ways that you can send messages through our system. So quickly, again, we have being able to send a blank message, just starting from scratch. We have the ability to send a message to all resources within a pool. And then we have a way to send a message directly to an internal resource. And we have the ability to send a message for a particular visit and have the message pre-populated. So those are our different messaging capabilities. Let us know if you have any questions.
Awesome, thank you, Taylor. So I don't see any questions as of right now. But again, we will be sending out a follow-up email, so if you have any questions at that moment, don't hesitate to send your questions in. So we'll move on to additional resources that are available. So there are a few additional resources that are available for your use. So as mentioned, we will distribute the recording afterwards. So you'll be able to go over the webinar once again and use it as you may like. We do have other educational videos on our official YouTube page, which cover other product functionalities and different topics. And we will have other educational webinars in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for those ones as well. If you have any topics that we haven't covered before and you would like to see them, please feel free to reach out to me and we'll go over those topics. And lastly, if you are a customer, you can always contact support at ExpandIT for any technical support. So with that being said, thank you everyone. If you have additional questions about the material that was covered, feel free to reach out. Have a great day, everyone.